you appreciate things more in general. Looking at the monkeys, you realize that everyone is unique, like every monkey is unique, every human being is unique. It's nice to just look at them and think about life in general. So I work with adult females and I try to understand what are the different factors that affect a female's fitness, how many offspring they can produce and how long do they survive. So fitness here is in evolutionary terms. So we try to see how the ability of an individual to spread their genes throughout generation. So if you have offspring, you spread your genes from one generation to another generation. So I try to look at that and try to see what are the various factors. For example, how many friends do you have, like how many social partners do you have, and what is the availability of food in the area, and how all of that affects a female's fitness. The difficulty is that there are so many factors that affect a female's fitness, like the social factors and ecological factors. They all interact with each other. So for example, if you live in a group of 20 individuals, it could be that you have a lot of friends, but at the same time you have more competition. If you have a 5-member group, then you have less number of members in the group, but then food competition is less. But for example, if you have like 50 members in a group, then you have, of course, you can have more social partners and friends, but then the competition, if there is a limited resource, for example, if there is only 2 fruit trees in this area and this tray there, then there is a lot of competition happening. So there's a lot of things that affect how many offspring a female can produce and how long she can survive. So I think this is a major difficulty because there is a lot of interaction and influence of multiple factors. But apart from that, in general, if you work in field, there are a lot of difficulties, right? You cannot collect data all the time. For example, if they're high on the canopy, you'll be like, try to observe them, but you cannot. So these are some difficulties, I think. Monkeys are, I think, very similar to humans. If you go and work with them, you would see that they are just like us, or rather we are like them, because they also care for their family, like they have their families and they live in a social group, same like humans. We also have social structures, like we live with multiple people. So for monkeys it's the same. Yeah, I think they're very cool and they're very interesting. Like they're just like us. Humans are very complex, so if you want to study the evolutionary origin of social behavior, you can look at monkeys and get some insight on why this behavior has evolved. If I'm interacting with you, why am I interacting with you? What is the reason? Like, why do I need to interact with you? Is there anything that I'm getting out of this conversation or this interaction or not? So I think it's pretty interesting. Generally, the social behavior, it's similar between human society and monkey society. This species, we have philopatric females, which means there are females living in the same group throughout their life. In case of humans, depending on the culture and the country you are in, I'm not sure whether females stay in the same place throughout their life. For example, me, I'm from India, so we don't stay in the same family throughout our life. When we get married, we have to move to some other place. So that's not a similarity. But social behavior in general, I would say that that's similar between humans and monkeys. Some of them are like naturally beautiful because they have like natural eyeliner and stuff, like Dodo, for example, or Naoko. They are nice and beautiful, but like I think all of them are unique in their own ways, like the females in general, because for example, Andorra, she has a lot of scars in her head and it shows that she has been through a lot in her life. Like, it shows how strong they are and how resilient they are. So I think all of them are just unique characters. So I haven't worked with other macaque species before, so I wouldn't really be able to tell how special they are. But for my project, I think it's very important because these Assamese macaques, for females, they stay in the same group throughout their life. So for my project, I really need to know their life trajectory, like when they were young, how many social partners they had, and when they get older, if there is less social partner, or like to get an idea about their reproduction, we need to know what's happening in their life before they reproduce. So for example, in terms of friendship or in terms of ecological factors like availability of food and stuff. So I think in that case, I think it's very important that this species, I think one thing that we can take away from my research would be to get an idea on the evolution of social behavior, so we can get some insight on human social behavior. But apart from that, we can also get idea on evolution of reproductive strategies. For example, for females, you would know what are the factors that actually limit their reproduction. For example, if it's the food or if it's the social structure, or what exactly is it. So whatever information we get from monkeys, I mean, they would not directly be applicable to humans, but for example, this is basic research which allows us to do higher scientific advancement. Without having basic research, you cannot reach higher levels of scientific knowledge. So I think in terms of that, it would contribute a lot towards gaining more insight on female reproduction, their factors that affects the reproduction, and the social behavior in general, because they are social beings. So whatever we get from here, we can get some insight on why things are the way they are now. This is like looking back into the past, I would say, and trying to get some information. This is how it was before, and that's why we are the way we are now.
There was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across the room. And damn, what a hell of a view. I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date. You're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight. Don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase. So catch me